Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this meeting of the Planning Committee. Last one of the year. Be an opportunity for the members of the public to speak to us shortly, but first we need to do some housework. First of all, apologies. And we've had apologies from Councillor Jones, and everybody else is here. So that's okay then. And number 2 is declarations of interest. There are going to be some this evening because we all need to declare an interest in case number 4, which is Councillor Bacini's application. And we all know Councillor Bacini. Some of us better than others, but because some of us have been on council longer than others, but still. So in which case it's not prejudicial anyway, we just need to declare it. Yes, Councillor?
I need to declare prejudicial on that one as well.
Oh, okay.
I know the builder.
Okay.
Potential builder. And I would declare the same.
Okay.
I know the applicant in the Ashton Gardens.
Okay, yeah, and you got that, you're keeping up with that, Jen? Mm-hmm. Okay, and Councillor Brown and I will need to declare an interest on case number 3, as we know Mr. and Mrs. Stark from their, from the fact that they're trustees of DCC.
I would say probably council needs to do that, everyone else does.
Yeah, I don't think that's personal and prejudicial because
No, I didn't say
in your capacity as the representative of the DCC.
I didn't make it say it was prejudicial. I just declared that we know them. That was all.
Yeah.
So it's just for the record. Other people may wish to if they do know the Starks, but. Okay, I think that about covers it. Okay, thank you. Moving on then to item 3, the minutes of the previous meeting. We've actually got two sets. We've got the 1st of November, which I was not at, but Councillors Brown and Carson and Langford Smith are at. And then we've also got the last meeting, which is 22nd, in which myself, Councillor Brown and Councillor Langford Smith are at. So we are quorate then to vote on those. So can I have a show of hands from those who are present who agree that the minutes of the 1st of November are accurate and should be signed? Thank you. And likewise for the 22nd of November, those who were there. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. I shall sign those then. Much to Joe's relief. Okay, yeah, sorry. Missed one. Sorry. I should have put one. you. Guarantee if you look at the first one and the last one, they'll look very different. Okay. Item 4 on the agenda, Planning Committee Project Report. That's been circulated to the committee. We thank Joe for it. Has anybody got any questions or comments on it? Councillor Smith?
Just that the training course from Southern Parishes with regards to objecting to planning applications training.
Yep.
Do we need to agree that, or is that going to be on the further agenda?
It probably should go on a further agenda, and I will flag it certainly to Councillor Kane that she may wish to consider.
I think I have already expressed an interest in that.
Okay, right.
And likewise.
Sorry?
And likewise.
Oh, okay. Okay, Councillor Carson. As you've been on before, I thought you might not. But yes, that was mainly raised by some parish councils who apparently in the past have just said we object without actually making any comments, and then wondered why they didn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
One in particular locally, but I won't name them. But yes, we will make a note to put that on the agenda later, so we can agree it. Please, Joe. Okay, item 5 then is the public participation session. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address us. I'll shortly go through the applications, inviting comments, but there are rules to this session which I will invite Joe, the clerk to this committee, to read to you.
The Parish Council, via this committee, comments and makes recommendations on planning applications affecting the parish. Proceedings during the public session, which will only exceed 15 minutes in exceptional circumstances, must remain under the control of the chairman, to whom all questions and comments on applications or other planning matters must be addressed. All comments on planning applications should be made to the Head of Planning Management, Winchester City Council.
Thank you very much. I'll go through the list of items before us, and the first one is at 9 the Spring Denmead. Works to involve digging a trench which will sever roots of protected trees, and then for installing a root barrier to protect the spring from the trees which are apparently causing problems. Anybody wish to comment on that one? No? Okay, thank you. Number 2 is Mr. R. Stark's application at Tanglemead, Upper Cravick Lane, for an extended hard paved driveway, a front boundary wall, and minor front elevation extensions and alterations to materials. Anybody want to comment on that one? No? Okay, thank you. Number 3 is Legius Limited's application, offices at Soak Farm, Soak Road, demolition of existing office and ancillary buildings on site, conversion of existing industrial warehouse, and the construction of 9 in number residential properties consisting of 1, 2, 3 bedroom properties, all with associated parking, hard and soft landscaping, and amended access at Soak Farm Yard. Anybody wish to comment on that one? Number 4 is Mrs. Ava Cheney's application at 21 Forest Mead for a 2-storey front extension to provide ground floor WC and an enlarged first floor bedroom.
Yes, I can speak on that one. So obviously that's my application. As it says, it's for an extension, the width of my hallway on both stories, to provide a downstairs toilet and to extend what is currently a very small 3rd bedroom. I've personally spoken to or exchanged messages with the neighbours either side of me and in front of me. Either side have reported back to me they have no objection, and the neighbour in front of me has formally notified Winchester City Council that she has no objection, and that's in the planning portal. I think just one thing I should mention, I didn't review the original application, that the actual application form that the architect submitted for us, and he didn't tick the box that so that I am an elected member of the local planning authority. I realised that an hour before this evening's meeting when I was reviewing the documents again. So I will contact the case officer tomorrow if I need to make a change on that. I'm not sure if I do, if we are a local planning authority.
You don't count as a member of the local planning authority because that would be a member of Winchester City Council, which is the planning authority, not the parish council. So you're okay on that
I
front.
haven't done anything like that.
And you're not on the planning committee, or even if you were, you wouldn't be sitting because it's your application.
Perfect. In which case, that's all I wanted to say. I'm here if any questions.
Okay, thank you. Number 5 is Mr. M. Halkides, I assume. Apologise if I got it wrong. At Langcrest Uplands Road, an extension and alterations to the ground floor and new replacement first floor roof and bedrooms. Do you want to comment on that one?
Yes, originally it's a bungalow and it didn't overlook us at all. And it's very close to the boundary and they're planning on raising the roof incredibly high. It's going to be a chalet and all the bedrooms are going to be in the roof. What I'm objecting to is that they're going to have a bank of windows in the roof, Velox windows in the roof, overlooking my property. As well as having at the back of the house, they're having a balcony off their bedrooms. So the side of my house, the back of my house, and all the gardens going to be on view for them. My request would be, if you're having to have windows in the side of the house and the roof overlooking my garden and my house, so they can see straight into into the porch area and all around my garden. Sorry, I'm getting a bit.
It's all right, relax.
Yeah. One of the windows, they've got some Velox windows which are sort of about that high. 3 of them. But the other one is much longer. It's going from the base of the roof to the apex, and it's following the staircase and landing. And so they'll be going up and down the staircase with good views of my conservatory, my front garden, my back garden, my porch as you come into the house. Not that they're going to be snooping, but I just feel a bit vulnerable. And I would request that the windows, which are impeding on my privacy, and I've been there for 40 years, I've had privacy for 40 years, at least they could have privacy glass rather than plain, huge windows. If that's my objection. I mean, for 40 years I've been sunbathing topless. I mean, do they really want to see me topless now? Perhaps 40 years ago, maybe, but not now.
Yes.
So I know people build, but it's.
You need to calm down. I was struggling on a way to answer that. I know we're recording, that's why I was struggling to respond appropriately. Councillor Langford-Smith never ignores an opportunity to laugh or embarrass me.
And also,
Yeah, sorry.
as an aside, there's a building opposite which a builder has bought. It's another little bungalow and he's knocking it down.
Yes.
That's the buyer, that's another issue. But the people moving into Longcrest were objecting that because it was against their privacy and it was opposite the road, and they're worried about the value of the property of their house. So it's a little bit of double standards for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions from members to our visitor? No.
You
No,
just wanted
sorry.
to say, so you don't have, you probably do have an objection to the whole thing.
I mean, it's huge, from a little bungalow to a small,
Okay.
yeah.
But if it had privacy glass, I guess you.
I could square it. If all the windows overlooking my property had privacy glass, I could square it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Because it's not just, because it's so high up, it's the whole of the garden and the whole, and my house.
Okay, Councillor Langford-Smith.
I would just say that any comments made on planning applications need
Yes.
to make to Winchester because they're the planning authority.
Yes,
that
they
make
have
those
done
decisions.
it, yes,
Yes.
thank you. Yeah.
Yes, anything else or anybody? Thank you very much. We'll discuss that shortly. I'll just continue going through the motions and ask if anybody has any comments on application 6, which is Mr. D. Meadows' application at 37 Ashling Gardens for a proposed rear extension and a loft conversion. And Councillor Kane said she knows the applicant. So, then number 7 is Mr. M. Weeks' application at Wisteria Cottage, Erbils Road, for a new integral garage with habitable accommodation above, including internal alterations. No. Okay. Right. Is anything else on our agenda anybody wants to comment on from the public? No. Okay, thank you. Well, with members' approval, as we have 2 visitors for two applications, I propose we take applications 4 and 5 first, followed by the others. If everybody's happy with that. So the first of those then is Councillor Boccini's application at 21 Forest Mead. And there's one comment from the householder in front of the house saying she has no objection. It's a person known to the committee, to the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group. Thank you, Councillor Langford-Smith. That's the house in question. It fronts onto the Greenway by Forest Mead. The vehicular access is round the back. And there are proposed front and current existing. So that's the existing front and side view, and that's the proposed front. So the proposal, as you could see, is a small extension, as the applicant has told us, to have a WC downstairs and a small extension to the bedroom upstairs, losing an outside cupboard effectively at the front of the house. That's about it really. I think we can just about see the dimensions there. And I checked earlier, and the support from the neighbour across the Greenway is the only comment on Winchester's website. Any questions on the facts? No. Comments then? Councillor Carson?
I can't imagine that even if there were objections from within Parish Council that Winchester would uphold any objection against the Planning Commission, and I propose that we make no objection.
A seconder? Thank you, Councillor Langford-Smith.
You can't.
Oh, sorry, you.
No, I can't.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, you can't, sorry. Yeah, well, yes, you can. Oh, no, you
No,
can't,
no,
because
you
you declared an extra one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, Councillor Kay is seconding the proposal for... So, with the exception of Councillor Langford-Smith, those in favour... and Councillor Brown, so, yeah. They would pick that particular builder, obviously. So, can the three of us then agree that we have no objection? And... obviously, Councillor Boccini, you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Why do you need this bit of bedroom?
I'm telling you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
All the best. Cheers. Right, then number 5, case 5 is Landcrest at Uplands Road. Described as extensions and alterations to the ground floor and new replacement first floor, roof and bedrooms. It's, as our visitor has already described, it's across the road from the small bungalow which we discussed a couple of months back, where the applicant wanted to knock the bungalow down and put 2 4-bedroom houses in its place. This is again a small bungalow, and I'm trying to remember, there was yeah. So that's the proposal. As you can see, it's a bit different to a bungalow. It is significantly taller, though I couldn't quite work out what the height change was. And yeah, that's a
8 metres.
oh.
I know St George is 8 metres, but that looks as if it's about the same.
Yep, thank you. Obviously, they're showing the street scene to show that the proposal would fit in with, I suppose, with the street scene. As our visitor has observed, there are windows in the roof line and a balcony around the back.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find the ones with windows.
Yeah, I'm struggling to remember which one it was. I forgot to write it down. It's probably the one with the roof line on. Yeah, there we go. So, not sure which. I think that's the one towards. One of those two is towards one house on the side, and the other is towards the other. We can see the very tall window. I think it's probably the other side one. That is the one that's over the stairwell, and therefore towards our visitor's house. And I think that one, is that the upstairs plan? It shows the balcony at the back. Yeah, there. And effectively nothing on the left-hand side, if I recall correctly, and I can't quite read it. Yeah, that's what we do with the kitchen. Yeah, I know there's nothing there. So yes, it's a conversion of. Like a lot of the houses along that road, there are a lot of smaller ones which have been rebuilt in recent years. This is a similar application. Any questions on the facts? I did take a photograph, Councillor, of the current building to get some idea of the that's from the road there. That's the current building, and as we can see from the other shot, it is fairly close to St George. George is the other side. Beg pardon. To the other. It's, yeah, you can see it. It's fairly close. Sorry, Councillor Carson.
So, I think we might have to direct the question to a member of the public. Do any of those roof lights that are the main concern in the stairway roof barracks look directly into any under the definition of planning main rooms of
Well,
the members of the public?
obviously it did mention that it looked into a
That's not considered the main room.
look into a conservatory, and also the garden and the porch. I will open the public session to ask the question: does it look?
Yes, it does. It overlooks our landing.
The main rooms, if I understand correctly, in terms of planning, are things like sitting rooms, not a kitchen, not even a dining room. It's a
No,
living
not lots of
space.
things,
Is the conservatory a?
Or we live in the conservatory in the summer, yeah.
Okay, thank
It's,
you.
it's like my sitting room, but yeah.
Okay. Councillor Carson. No. Councillor Langford-Smith?
We have precedent for overlooking into someone's kitchen from a balcony. Previously there was one on School Lane,
It's School Lane or Hambledon Road, just across the road.
sorry, Hambledon Road,
Yeah.
Hambledon Road.
But, yes.
We objected
Mm.
on that basis and was upheld.
Mm. Councillor Brown?
Are we on opinion or are we on?
Well, I think we're still on facts, but if there aren't any more, then we're quite happy to go on to opinion.
Am I allowed to say something?
Well, not really, no. Sorry. Other than answer questions we ask. Yeah. Sorry, Councillor Brown.
Opinions, it would, in my opinion, that the windows will affect the amenity of the neighbours' gardens and the use of their house.
Can we pull up the front review again? Councillor Langford-Smith?
Sorry, the plans,
Yeah, so
that's the rear.
that's the rear, that's the front. So we have a reasonable amount of windows upstairs, front and rear, including that huge one there, which is because there's a void above the kitchen. I assume the other windows are over, the other Veluxes are over interior rooms. But so yes, they will affect the amenity of both neighbours, particularly the tall one. Yes, Councillor Brown.
Mainly because they are actually looking at the neighbours' houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most windows tend to be front and rear of houses, not
Yeah.
on the sides of houses.
And a lot of Velux are on steeper
Yeah.
things, so they're actually adding light without being able to look out. So, given the, I understand your point. Given the angle of that roof, those windows will be usable, if you like, other than for light. So yes, that's Langford-Smith.
Yes, we have. There was one on Harvest Road where we had very much similar to this, and we asked that a condition, if Winchester were minded to approve planning, we asked for a condition that all windows at first floor were obscure.
Councillor Brown.
That was actually a similar position in the fact that it was a bungalow that was effectively turned through 90 degrees, and its roof line was similar to this.
And what was the outcome?
Winchester actually objected to that planning application initially,
Yeah,
and then it was reapplied for.
yeah. Councillor Carson, sorry.
I was just going to find out the outcome.
Uh,
of that.
okay. Opinion then? Councillor Langford-Smith.
I think it would affect the neighbours' amenity.
Okay. What do we think of the principle of extending this house to make it this bungalow into a house, admitted with the state of the windows? Sorry, Councillor Brown, I think was first.
I don't have an issue with the building structure itself and the size of it, because it fits in with other buildings that are there. It is purely the fact of the amenity. If the condition was put on that the windows were opaque, then I can't see an issue with the building itself.
Councillor Carson.
Is that?
That was proposed.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll retract that because we haven't discussed the balcony.
Okay. Yeah. You wish to comment on the balcony as well?
So I think I heard also overlooked a property at Gordon.
Yes, because it's at the rear, it will tend to.
And I think at the minimum that we could request if Winchester were going to allow it, that it have side privacy screening.
Yeah, it's got glass on the rear part of it. If I can read that correctly. Yeah.
Is that a wall on the
Yeah.
right there, so it doesn't actually side privacy isn't an issue, so...
Well, it depends on the height. I'm not sure we've got an indication of the height of that wall. Yes, Councillor Kane, sorry.
Well, looking at the side elevation, the roof goes all the way down, so that would seem to indicate that there's a side wall, but it doesn't necessarily mean there is, because it could be a corner post at a half wall or something like that.
Yeah, Councillor Brown.
Just looking at that, the roof protrudes further than the balcony does, because otherwise the balcony would be shown sticking out at the side of the building, which it doesn't.
So,
The roof must overhang it.
which would give some privacy immediately to the right, but not necessarily into the garden.
Yeah.
So we had a proposal that, which it has not been seconded yet, that we have no real objection to the conversion of the building, but we have concerns about the windows. And do you want to add something about the balcony?
I know I'd make a comment on the fact of the balcony is that if there was a window on that back wall of the house, you would have the same view as standing on the balcony. So that's why I don't actually have a problem as such with the balcony, because it's under the eaves of the roof. It's not that they can come out and look right or left.
So
They don't have a sideways view there. They have a rear view, which is no different to having a window there.
Councillor Lamberson.
The only mitigation I can think for that is to ask for some planting to potentially screen in due course. It would take quite a long time.
And there's not much room there. So, sorry, you made a proposal.
I'll second it.
Okay. So the proposal is that we have no objection to the modifications to the house other than the roof lights, which are overlooking both neighbours and reducing the amenity of both neighboured houses. And we would ask that they would be obscure glass to protect the privacy and amenity of the neighbours. Does that sum it up?
Yeah.
Everybody happy with that? Show of hands, please. And that's unanimous. Sorry?
I'd just like us to explain to the members of the public that does not mean that that's what's going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're asking Winchester to protect your privacy, but
I just thought I had to.
no, that's your absolute right to do
The
so.
stairwell is used a lot going up and down.
No,
That's the big one, that's the main one, which I'm really worried about.
yeah. So we've asked Winchester to make the relevant glass obscure.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Actually, can I go?
Yes.
It's nice to be what happens. It's lovely seeing all of you, but
Not that lovely.
I need a gin.
Okay.
After that.
I hope it works out for you.
Good. Yes.
Fingers crossed, thank you.
Good night. Okay, back then, members, to number 1, which is 9 the Spring, another TPO application. In this case, for newer members, we had an application earlier this year, to take down 3 oak trees that are a fair distance away from 9 the Spring, because they are damaging 9 the Spring, and we objected strongly as they're quite a distance away, and I took some photographs again. Winchester agreed and said no, so they've now come back and said, well, these trees are damaging our house, or the house, and we therefore wish to put a root barrier in. Now, if you go back to
Those trees on the right.
those trees on the right, and the house is the one there on the left. Well, that's two houses there, and it's the second one in, that one there. And apparently there are oak roots damaging the porch and starting to damage the rest of the house. That is the original arboricultural report, though it says it's a sketch plan, which is an arboricultural implication report, I think is the one that I noted that we should probably look at, councillor. And there's one comment from the neighbour who says, don't object and stop saying that the hedge in front of me is mine, it's parish council's, which I don't think is true.
What was the upshot of the short version of the arboriculturalist report?
Well,
the trees were
yeah,
responsible for
well, effectively, I think that's the old one, councillor Langford Smith. The arboricultural impact statement is the one that says what they intend to do this time.
Sorry, that's from where I was reading it earlier.
So the arboriculturalist said that the trees are responsible for
Well, they said oak trees are, and there is subsidence in mostly, but mainly the porch, I think. They named two other trees that were closer, one of which has been removed, and they were not allowed to take down the trees, the oak trees. So now they want to put in a root barrier, which is another way of protecting the building from tree root damage. And they note that if Winchester don't allow this, then they probably make a claim under Regulation 24 for Winchester to pay the cost of repair to the house. And they also note that Denby Parish Council owns the land in front, so Denby Parish Council will have to give permission for the work to be done. And the only thing I would say from that, sorry, Councillor Langford Smith, I know issue with it, they haven't given us any measurements, as far as I can see, as to where the root barrier is going compared with the trees, the footpath, the very large area of green and the house. Sorry,
Yeah, they have. They've said that they're quite happy to put the root barrier on our land.
Well, yeah, that's why.
Using
That's
their 5-ton digger, 3-ton,
yeah.
5-ton excavator.
Yes, they've said that they need access to our land, but they haven't actually given us a distance between the trees and the root barrier.
Which gives you an idea of how much it's going to damage the roots.
Yeah. Okay. So
Well, the other thing is they've got 400 mil of foundations.
Mm.
So they've got foundations of that on their porch.
Mm.
So I would suggest if you had a shower of rain, the porch might move.
Councillor Brown, sorry. As the public have gone, Ian.
I put some notes down. One, there's no design and access or method statement as to how they're going to access our land.
Yeah.
The root barrier should be within the curtilage of the property, because it shouldn't be on parish council land. And if they are protecting the porch, the closer to their building, the better for them, because effectively the roots could go round their barrier.
Yeah, and
because they can't put it in front of the neighbour's house.
I would add that to that the further away, well, the nearer the house, nearer to the house, the further away it is from the trees. So, yeah, and if it's on their land, then they would still probably need permission for us to actually take the equipment across our land to get to their land, but they wouldn't be digging up our land. Paula?
I would suggest that also this site is very difficult to access without going over footpaths. So the paths that are there are part of the greenway, and putting a 5-ton excavator over the top of those paths is going to damage those paths.
Yeah, well, it'll be one at the most, because they're talking about using the parking area behind the houses as access. Which
no,
will,
that's a storage.
well, storage and access.
No,
I thought, I read it, which is going to please the neighbours no end. Yeah, Councillor, sorry, Ian.
there is an archway between houses which has a build over, which has a low roof. I know
It has a
because
very low roof because one of
because
our guys reversed into it.
however, that is a way they could access and do the least amount of damage.
I don't think you'll get a digger through there.
You would get a digger through width-wise. It's the height
Yeah,
that would be the
that's
problem.
it.
Yeah. So,
But
sorry, yeah, go on. Ian.
without any knowledge of where they're putting it, what they're actually putting
Yeah.
in, I think we have to put a strong objection in. And the fact that it's only affecting the porch,
Mm.
it would be cheaper to knock the porch down and start again. It won't, also, the fact of putting a root barrier in
Yeah.
won't sort the porch out. It won't stop the cracks in the porch.
Mm.
They will still have the cracks in the porch.
No. Sorry,
Oh, I
Paul.
will just advise members of the application that was discussed yesterday at Winchester. Again, it was oak trees, it was a conservatory this time. Again, very shallow footings, not as shallow as this porch. Those footings were 1.2 metres. Everyone knows you need to go down 2.4 on clay in Denmead. Unfortunately, these were built without the correct footings that building regs now require. But Winchester, although they were very unhappy at having to make the decision because of the threat from legal and the fact that they would have to give compensation. And yesterday, the compensation figure discussed was 75,000. Winchester will not entertain that, so they will, unfortunately, they agreed yesterday to take out 4 150-year-old oak trees.
Ian. I'm sorry, Deb's had her hand up first, and I'm talking down again.
I mean, I'm cautious about just issuing a strong objection without really giving some way to go, particularly with what Paula has just said. And we know that's going to be the same case. I'm pretty sure we know that.
Well, in this case, the Winchester turned it down.
They did refuse it
The,
last
the,
time.
the removal of the trees, so,
Yeah,
but now they're
trees.
being told, you will have to pay if you don't let us put a root barrier
Are we
in.
able to? I don't know how our wording is on these things, but I don't think in principle we have an objection to them putting a barrier on their land.
No, which is what Ian said.
And I'm
Yeah.
reiterating, and that if we would be minded to allow the necessary access across Fenby Parish Council land with the proviso that it is returned to the original condition, including grass.
Sorry to interrupt, that's not material planning.
Okay.
Access arrangements are not material planning.
Yeah.
It's literally the application. They would have to get, sorry, Councillor Brown was first and then me.
I would say that we have no objection to them putting a root barrier in on their own land.
Yeah.
Okay.
And strong objection to putting it in on our land. Paul, no.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Winchester will, they will probably allow this, but it's up to us because it's our land and we have the right to say, not on our land, you must do it within your curtilage, as Councillor Brown has said.
Yeah.
Again,
Yes.
I'm not sure that's material planning.
No, but
The application, sorry, did you
yeah, yeah, I did
Yes,
say
the
you.
application clearly states that the details of the trench and barrier are provided in the arboricultural, the tree man's method statement in terms of the location, its distance from trees, its length and depth, but we're saying we're not seeing that information.
No,
The length and depth of the trench are in there.
but not
It's
the location.
It says its distance from trees.
I haven't found it. I haven't seen it, and
That's,
yeah, I'm not saying you're reading it wrong. I'm just saying I didn't find it when I was reading the.
so we may,
It's all about how it works and what it does. And
Yes, it's right at the very beginning.
a
I just don't want it to look silly and say it hasn't been stated in the minutes.
I only noticed the length and the depth.
Yeah, that's where it says about the footings only being 400 mils.
Because the one that's labelled sketch plan is actually the Borough Cultural Report from last time. Yes, Kathy, sorry.
There's a bit that I can see which is the barrier will be positioned between the offending trees and the affected part of the building. Doesn't say.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all I saw. And the line drawn on the Google Earth view doesn't give any real indication of how close to the house and how far from just the length and depth of the barrier.
Just as the aerial image overleaf indicates the size and position of the proposed barrier, and that's the red line of it. That's where they're going to propose to put the barrier.
Right, where is that red line?
Well, they're saying it's between the house and the tree, and you can see the house and you can see the trees.
So I can see it's a lot closer to the trees than the house.
It's hard to tell because you can't see the
Yeah.
footpath which the trees cover.
True, yeah.
So I think it's a case of we basically say we have no objection if they put a root barrier in on their in their curtilage, but would have a strong objection if it was on the parish council's curtilage. That makes that yeah. Everybody happy with that? You're all nodding, so we'll take that as a proposed response. You okay with that, Joe? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm just checking Joe's all right with the notes with it. So that's an unusual one to say we have no objection on their land, but not on ours. But okay, Tanglemead, Upper Cravick Lane. This is Mr. R. Stark's application. Extend their hard paved driveway, a front boundary wall, a minor front elevation extension, and alterations to the materials. Again, I took some photographs, only a couple, I think. That's where the current entrance is, and the hedge. The other one was a shot further in. The proposal is the current. Yeah. It's 2 doors up from the Fox and Hounds, and Mr. Stark is one of the people who is on the board of the Fox and Hounds. He's also the chairman of the DCC, which is why Ian and I know him and Mrs. Stark. Yeah. Sorry, Ian.
I don't know if I have to declare prejudicial because I'm a shareholder of Fox and Hounds.
Oh, that's true. So am I.
And then
I don't think. Yeah, well, yeah, but that.
Can't be you happy again.
Well, no, I don't believe that would be a prejudicial interest against an application for his house. Might be if it was to do with the pub, but I don't.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I would rather say it than.
Yes.
Yes, but I keep forgetting that. It's anyway. The front protrusion on the ground floor at the moment, which apparently is the kitchen, as a sloping roof and is rather dark, and the proposal is to extend, I can never remember, it's a gable roof instead of a hipped one, with some roof lights in both sides.
That's the diagonal line across that drawing is a hip.
Is existing, yeah.
That's a hip.
Okay, yeah.
And a gable is when it stands up.
Yeah, I always get those two mixed up. But basically the current sloping roof, they want to make it into a squared off roof with windows out the sides so that light into the kitchen. They extend the hard standing out the front to make life easier for turning cars around and going out in forward gear. And the front of the left-hand side of the house to have split slate on the front to match that which is on the dormer on the right, and a small and removing what they refer to as not very good hedgerow, and put a small wall in at a metre with fence panels, and it shows some vegetation behind. I think that covers the facts. Basically, the current driveway is being extended out to the left, in behind the things. I'm not sure which of you two was first, so I'll go with Deb's.
I can't see any reason that this would be refused at Winchester.
No,
I
but-
propose we raise no objection.
Kathy, so
Can I ask, is the driveway within our command as well? And I'm sorry, I've looked at these, but I can't remember. What was the surface of the driveway that's proposed? Was it brick?
it's brickwork at the moment. Yeah, I think it's just extending what's there.
That's the driveway at the moment.
Okay, so it's an extension of that.
Yeah.
I just felt it was rather sad that we were going to have an extension of a hard surface when it's a big drive.
Paula.
I have to say I am concerned about the boundary treatment. The rest of the road, most of the houses along there are completely open. They don't have any boundary treatments at the front. So to have large red brick piers with timber trellis infills, I know we've got this elsewhere in the village. So for example, the Forest Road shrub belt has this type of boundary treatment, but I don't think there are any in Upper Crabick.
There are some that have none, and some that have hedgerows.
Yeah.
I don't recall any walls, but Ian.
The house opposite has a post and panel fence, not brick walls, but has a post and panel fence, and that's the house directly opposite. The next house along to that has a post and rail fence, so does the next one. The next one to that has a panel fence. Next door neighbour has a post and panel fence, so there is precedent in the road. It's not to that standard, but that is what's there.
Okay, Debs.
The house on Uplands right opposite where School Lane comes out, whilst it's a tasteful wall, it is a new extensive wall.
This is Upper Crabick rather than.
The house at the top joins upwards at the end is, sorry, correct.
Yes.
Right.
Now I'm with where you are. Yeah.
Yeah, forget it. I'm
No.
somewhere else.
So yeah, the sloping front garden and driveway is proposed to be extended as shown. Well, basically, in the facts, what do we want to say?
So
Kathy?
can we just come back? So the wavy lines are presumably what is currently not paved. I'm just thinking, I don't
Yes.
think we saw it before.
Yeah.
The driveway.
Yeah. Basically, as it stands, it's pretty difficult to get more than, if you've got more than one car in there, then you're going to have trouble turning round and coming out forwards. Yeah. Sorry, Ian.
It's basically taking out those taller shrubs and that hedgerow that's on the left-hand side there, and paving that corner, and then putting the wall in with shrubs behind it.
And
You go back to
on
the-
this side as well.
Can you go back to the plan? So it's taking out, you can see that arc there. So that's shrubs that are there, and there's no block pavement here.
Well, and on the other side as well. Is that
There is block paving over that side, and that shows the canopy of the hedgerow effectively, I presume. But that's what this side is. That's what they want to take out, all of that.
Debs.
Thank you. Do you remember, Chairman,
Anybody got any more? Yep, okay, go ahead. Oh, you did, you made a proposal that we didn't, yeah, but we didn't object, or you suggested that Winchester wouldn't object. Anybody want to second that one? Ian?
Yeah, I second it. I don't see a planning reason to object to that.
Mm-hmm. So we have a proposal that we do not reject. Are those in favour of that proposal? And one against? Yep. Okay. So by a majority we're not going to reject. Number 3. Eligius Limited, offices at Soak Farm, Soak Road in Denmead. Demolition of existing office and ancillary buildings, conversion of existing industrial warehouse, construction of 9 residential properties consisting of 1, 2, 3 bedroom properties, all with associated parking, hard and soft landscaping, and amended access at Soak Farm Yard. Not the easiest of plans to look at because they almost seem to be drawn by hand in pencil, but I suspect it's just because they were drawn on A0 and have been shrunken down. We have received from Hampshire Highways effectively objections on some of the aspects, including that they don't believe the parking is sufficient, and they haven't had enough details of the access, etc. There are several objections on the grounds that they're putting houses in where it's currently a yard, and almost on a blind bend where there have been problems, and it's almost opposite Jewson's. And there's some support, and why that's there I have no idea. I think it's just to show that they did advertise it to be let and have not got anywhere. There is a architect's eye view of what it will look like.
That's not it.
No, I can't remember what it was called. Well, there is a coloured
There it is.
illustration. So at the moment, there we go. That's what they envisage it looks like, except that does rather make Soak Road at that point look a lot better than it actually is. And that would effectively be almost from the entrance to Jewson's. Oh, well, I said Wick. Jewson's in Soak Road. And basically I think the building on the right is new and the building in the background is the one that's being converted, though it's more or less new because it doesn't look much like a warehouse. There's been 1 or 2 letters of support, mostly commenting on the comments, both from the owner and from the agent, but none of the comments otherwise are in support from locals. So those of you who have been down that part of Soak Road will be aware that it's quite narrow, tight, and a blind bend round to the left where the entrance to Jewson's is, which is right where this site is. Then the only other, there are quite a few relevant facts. There's quite a lot of measurements there if you want to peer at them, but I think the biggest relevant fact is it's in the gap. It's in the Denmead Gap, where the only allowed development is minor extensions of current dwellings and possibly under MTRA for agricultural workers' dwellings if there's a need shown. So there's a heck of a lot. We were aware this was coming in at some point. I think it's over a year ago they told us they were going to do it. But I think the main point is apart from the objections, including from Hampshire Highways, it's in the gap. Okay, Ian?
Quite interesting that the project manager of this project fully supports it.
Yeah, as does the owner of the site. Well, he didn't actually say he fully supported it. That was the interpretation that Winchester put on it, but you would have thought that. He did actually announce he was the project manager. Yes, Deb.
It can only be a strong objection, can't it, because it's in the gap. So when I read through it, I was concerned about the parking situation and knowing the road and so on. And I think that's obviously a secondary serious objection.
Yeah, I mean, one of the two comments, I can't remember whether it was from the Mr. Bing or from the agent, said, "Oh, it meets the Winchester standards," which Hampshire have said they don't think it does for parking. Certainly, I don't think it's enough there for visitors.
No.
And there's no way, unless they use Jewson's car park, which is locked at 5 o'clock in the evening. I don't think there's any way that there's anywhere for visitors to park. Yeah, Paula?
We should also take into consideration the fact that Jewson's has planning permission to completely redevelop that site, and that is going to become a very large store, which will generate more traffic. So that causes more problems for something like this that hasn't had the traffic sorted out properly.
Thanks.
I think also, I can't remember which section it was, but it was about relating to flooding and so on, and obviously you've got all the surfaces, and it talked about it being diverted into a waterway, which should cope, and I'm worried about the onward effect of the increase.
Yeah, my memory of that, from looking at it in terms of water storage further upstream several years back, is that there is a land drain, for want of a better term, which comes down and goes underground around that point. There is also the pond shown there. Yeah,
You may end up with a situation that indeed the surface water may well be managed at the development, but it's just moved it.
Yeah. Yeah, Kathy?
I think just commenting on that, because it's got hard surfacing already and roofing, that I think that might be a difficult argument to make.
Good point. Yeah, but certainly there is a land drain coming down there. It feeds the fishing lake and then goes down and goes underground at some point at Soak Farm. And I think it comes out further down and goes into Main River. There's a stream goes across the land towards to Main River, but certainly part of it is piped. I know. Kathy?
I think the ecological points are quite important here in terms of the gap having quite a few protected species, and so
yeah, one of the objectors talks about the I think effectively aquatic species, if I remember rightly, and that one referring to the being newts, etc.
yes, and it's a very big marshy clay area, and one of the few areas that hasn't been touched very much at all. I don't remember, and having lived on Amwell Road for a very, very long time, it's never been planned, and so it's unusually rich, I would imagine, in terms of those species.
Okay, well, we're obviously, and I'm sure they expected it, I'm sure we're obviously going to make a strong objection on the grounds that it's new housing in the gap. What are we going to add? We've had several suggestions, but just saying it's in the gap doesn't emphasise sufficiently, as you've all made clear, that there's other reasons for objecting to it as well. So there's certainly parking, visitor parking, flooding, possible flood, and also wildlife issues, possible issues. Yeah, access on the blind bend.
Parking standards.
Well, I just said there's insufficient parking and insufficient visitor parking. Joe's scribbling away, hopefully. You're keeping up with this, all right, Joe? So there's a biggie here, but the main one is this is 9 dwellings in the gap without any justification beyond, of overriding MTRA 4 on whatever the gap, can't remember offhand what the gap legislation is. There's a specific thing in the local plan about
Yes,
Denby gap.
designated gap.
Yeah. Yes, I didn't know whether there was a section in the plan that mentioned it specifically. Can't remember. Yes, Deb?
So, appreciating there's already hard surfacing, but in the process of this major building work, how is leaching of surface water into the existing waterways
That's not.
mitigated?
That's a so.
Is it going
That's not a planning thing. That's a building regulation thing. So if they get planning to do it, they will have to mitigate things like that. But it's not a reason for objecting. It's just, well, it may well be that if planning were to come through, they will say, you must tell us how you're going to mitigate this, and this before you're allowed to start. Kathy, sorry.
Would it be a factor in terms of the application is also for demolition? Does it have a direct bearing if it's looking for demolition of the leaching thereof?
Well,
I just don't know.
it's not really any different to the demolition of anything else in that sense. I don't think so.
Okay, so there's no permission required for demolition in a...
Only insofar as they're saying we want to knock this building down and put a new one in. Yeah, and you look at the view that we were presented with, and you think, well, that's a very good conversion of a warehouse or a store into a bunch of houses, and it's kind of there's not going to be much left of the original building. Yes, Ian.
This is where it's not a conversion of a building.
Yeah.
It is a demolition and a new site.
Yeah.
There's no so they can't claim office to or barn to household conversion.
Well, no, but I mean, it is describing as conversion of existing industrial warehouse. So demolition of office and ancillary buildings and conversion of warehouse. But
It's not conversion, is it?
it's not really a conversion.
No,
So we can
that's the warehouse, isn't it?
yeah. So we can comment that we don't believe add a comment that we don't believe that the plans show a conversion of the warehouse, but a complete rebuild or replacement. You're going to have fun writing this one, Joe, aren't you?
Do you want a committee request?
Oh yes, I would definitely want a committee request. Can't. I'd be very stunned if an officer was going to do this one, but you can never tell. Right, so we've got lots of things Joe's written down for a strong objection with the committee request. So may I have a show of hands then for all those who are happy to strongly object, mainly on the gap, but other things as well. Right, Forest Mead we've done, Landcrest we've done, so we're now on to 37 Ashling Gardens. Kathy, do you know them well enough to think it would...
A couple of years ago, I talked to him and he talked me through what he was going to apply for when he'd settled things. So I'd say that was familiarity. I don't know him very well, but enough of that.
Ian?
I'm sure Kathy knows a lot of people in the village, as all of us do.
Yeah.
I don't think they
Yeah, I was going to say, unless you were describing him as a friend or you had any financial interest, I don't see.
To clarify.
No, that's perfectly fine, but I don't think that precludes you from commenting and joining in with the discussion. So, 37 Ashling Gardens. Well, it's I suppose you also we also need to comment that you also live in Ashton Gardens, which is yeah, but reason.
We all live in those,
Yeah, no, I know, but I mean that is one of the other points that it's a couple of 100 yards from your house, but
Exactly.
yeah, so there it is. It's a semi-detached bungalow, effectively. I took a couple of photographs just as it was getting dark. So that's the front of the porch. I took a photograph from the neighbour's driveway showing that it was extended at the back, as single story. If we look at the proposed elevations and plans, that's what it currently looks like, and that's what they would like it to look like. So basically it's a conversion to two-storey, or as some builders would say, 1.5 story, and the whole length, and I think it's wider. It's not easy to tell, but I'm pretty certain it's wider. And the main thing is it's a semi, which brings into. I made sure that I put a notification in the next the adjoining neighbours. But I don't think there's any comments come in, but.
Can we see the floor plan?
Yeah.
What new rooms is it creating?
I'm bunching the roof, effectively. At the moment, it's a single-storey building with bedrooms, etc., all on one floor, and talking about. I think it's 1 bedroom downstairs and 3 upstairs. So it's
So is it changing it to a 5-bedroom house?
well,
No.
a 4-bedroom.
4 bedrooms?
Yeah, and the plan shows 3 cars parked alongside. There. Which implies you could get more in, because obviously they would need to drive out to the front. And there is a garage at the back there. No, not sure that. Yes, Kathy?
So they've already got the curb at the front, so there will be those drives are very narrow between the houses. So they're presumably going to use the front for parking. But, the comment I was going to make, I think everyone's got a mini, they were built at that time, is that there might be an issue about, because it's on the south side of the neighbour, the not adjoining neighbour, in terms of light, I don't know, but there might be an issue.
Have there been any objections?
Not when I looked this afternoon. So basically, that's the facts. I think it is wider, though it's not easy to tell. But judging by that shot of the overhead plan view there, compared with the old one, and it's difficult to say. Maybe
so
it is.
Wider?
Sorry.
You said it's wider. I don't know what you're referring to.
I think I thought the house was going to be end up wider, but on second thought, I'm not sure how it would without taking the wall down. So ignore me. I think it's just the different plans look different. So basically, it's converted bungalow into a house with windows in the front and rear and Velux in the roof.
Apart from the rear extension on the other property, are there any precedent elsewhere?
Ian?
Just looking on Google Earth at the moment, the next 2 pairs of bungalows are pretty much as original. They're not.
Yeah, I think most of them along there are.
They're not. They've not done the upper floor as such.
Paula?
I can't see any material planning reason to object, although I am concerned about the cars down the side of the house and the parking.
I mean, that's obviously an illustration to show that they've got 4 bedrooms and they've got room for enough cars. At the moment they haven't because it's full. But anyway, Ian, sorry.
Looking on Google Earth again, you would struggle to get anything bigger than a smart car down the driveway and be able to get out of it. So parking down the driveway would be near on impossible to get out of the car.
So what
But they have dropped the curb at
Yeah.
the front so that they've addressed that to some extent.
So what parking exists apart from down that side
They have a driveway and a garage at the rear.
that accommodates how many cars?
Well, the garage is
Well, one.
Certainly
no,
two,
the-
because
the garage. The garage is a parking space, and then you have a whole driveway the length of the property.
But you said, it's
They are still classed.
Yeah,
as
it's
parking
still classed as a
spaces.
parking space. Whether you can get out or not is not a matter.
So you probably actually got room for 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, probably 5 cars,
Yeah,
including the garage, as it stands.
yeah.
Then as Paul says.
Yes, Paula, sorry, you've made a proposal. Yeah,
so, second.
Sorry, the only slight issue I have is the skylights that are on the centre there, which look the other side. There's skylights. That's okay. They are high. They're high.
Yeah,
up,
they're
so
high,
they're
yeah, just
yeah.
that- yeah, as it's those there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Can I ask why you're not concerned about these ones? On this,
Is it high? They're high.
they're
No, the skylights are the same as we've just objected to the other ones. That's what I was looking at. Is
Yeah.
that we should ask that they be opaque again.
But they're a lot higher.
No, the other ones aren't. You've got the 2 small ones on the left that are higher, but the other 2 are traditional windows looking out. They're in
Yeah. Paula,
We've had no objections.
no, and I notified both neighbours. Yes, Ian.
I don't think we'd had any objections apart from the lady for the one we've asked for a condition of opaque windows.
Sorry, if we look, I think
They
one of
are-
those is over the bathroom, is it not? I think, and one is.
Sorry. Those windows are not. Those windows are not Velux windows. They are on the front face of the building.
Bathroom and an ensuite.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, they're both bathrooms, so you would expect those to be obscured for the reason that they're bathrooms. Ian.
And there are also windows on the other side of the property as well. I know they're only slit windows, but they are still windows that look onto someone else's property.
Well, I'm not saying we can't put in Chris that the windows on either side of the property are obscure for the amenity of the neighbours, which is what we did just now.
Yeah.
But Paul, you want to add that to your proposal?
No, because we haven't. If the neighbours were concerned about overlooking, then they would have made an objection.
Ian.
Most people, as we know, don't look at planning stuff. They'll see a notification go up. They probably won't ever look on the planning portal.
Kathy?
The immediate neighbours who you have notified
Yeah.
are probably approaching 90 and wouldn't have had computer access or anything like that. So that doesn't mean that they might not be affected.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I'll amend my proposal to say that can we ask that the larger windows are obscured that are upstairs.
On the side roof.
The side windows are obscure.
Yeah, on the roof. Okay, we're all happy with that then? No objection provided with the request that they make those windows obscure. Yeah. Debs? Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Right, and then number 7 is Wisteria Cottage, Erbals Road. And this is effectively to add some more car storage with another room. There's a front room. That's the current views. And there's a similar one showing what they propose. So at the moment there's a double garage joined with a rear, I think it's referred to as a garden room at the back. They're asking to fill in with another garage in front of the garden room with accommodation over. So it's effectively another garage and another bedroom. It is a large house fronting Erbils Road, about halfway down. Ian?
No, I was going to look for a floor plan, but I don't think it's really relevant on the house that
You
size.
can't work it out when you look at it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's
A lounge to sit on
the best view is the two the views at of the front, the two different views of the front of the house, which is what Paul has shown us. Yeah.
I can see no planning reason to object to it.
Yeah.
It's,
All right.
not, it's increasing parking, which is what we normally look at.
Yeah. Paul?
Seconding the proposal.
Okay, show of hands down for everybody. Those who no objection. Okay, thank you very much. Decisions received. So we had Forest View Fursley Road application for a roof extension, etc. permitted. We didn't object. Malvern Hambledon Road, a loft extension, we had no objection, and replacement dwelling at Midhurst Lands Farm, we had a strong objection with the committee request, and it's been withdrawn. So, in actual fact, it was withdrawn, I think, about the day after our meeting, when the applicant came and listened to us. Yeah, sorry, Ian.
I think it was a fact-finding mission to see what we would object to.
Possibly. Okay. Next one is new planning apps. Have we had any since the agenda went out? I don't think we had it. Rather hope we won't get too many more before the new year. Note, I think this was just to note that an appeal has been made regarding the application adjacent to 24 Mead Road to put another house in there, which we objected to, and so did Winchester, and Winchester turned down. It was squeezing in another one. Yes, Ian?
So did the lady who some of the land this house is supposedly going on.
All right.
One of the people who came to object to it,
Yeah.
part of this house is on her land.
Oh, that one, I'd forgotten that. That'll be fun, won't it? Okay, number 10 then, Winchester Council Planning, City Council Planning Committee. As Paula has already said, we went yesterday. This is ratify my attendance. Did we do that last time?
No, that was for the one previous to that.
Okay. So it's ratified the fact that I went yesterday and failed to save 450 euro oak trees. Paula went as a district councillor and also failed at the same time. So I'm really happy that I went officially as an official duty.
Didn't fail, I just wasn't successful.
Well, all right. Okay. We won't argue semantics, especially on the recording. Okay, so next is item 11, pass a resolution to exclude the public.
So moved.
Thank you. To discuss other issues, and Joe will stop the